Hi everyone. Hi everyone. This is Girls for STEM. Welcome to Girls for STEM. Welcome to Girls for STEM. Again, we are here to encourage girls pursue STEM. We are here to acknowledge other scientists who have navigated this sector, and we are here to also encourage and expose the girls to the endeavors, the technology, so they can have a real feel of technology. So every Saturday, guys, we come here to acknowledge other scientists, other engineers who have navigated this sector, and also just to share how they navigated the STEM. So today, I'm so glad I have Rabson Piri. Rabson Piri is from Morocco. He's joining us. So yes, let's dive into that. And before we dive into that, guys, I just want to say, if you're coming here for the first time, please subscribe for more exciting stuff, you guys. So yes, let's do this. So Rabson, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Like she said, my name is Robson Piri. I'm a Zambian, but I'm currently living in Morocco. I'm a software engineer. Mostly I just do freelance work, but I'm also in school. So I'm doing my degree in computer engineering, and I've been programming for like 5 years now. So yeah, I know this stuff.
Wow, that's interesting. So thank you so much for really having you here. So let's share with our viewers, how did you become an engineer? Because we would like to know exactly how people navigate through engineering. Because most of the time it's rare that we see engineers that can share the story of how they navigated, especially there in Morocco. How did it start when you were young? Did your parents talk about it over the table, or how did you get into engineering?
Okay, so it started out uh, just out of curiosity. When I was young, I think in primary school, I always wanted to study something related to biology, like medicine. I was very fascinated with the brain, so I liked studying a lot about the brain. So I remember one day when I was reading a certain magazine, I came across an article that talked about computer programs, and I realized that these same computer programs functioned in a similar way as the brain does. So,
Yes.
being someone who was interested in how the brain works, I decided to learn more about these computer programs. So, when I was probably in 11th grade, I decided to start teaching myself how to code. So, I
Wow.
started learning, yeah, that was in high school. I started teaching myself how to program. And yeah, I've been programming ever since. And today I've worked with a number of people, a number of companies, and I'm a software engineer. So yeah.
Well, so how did you teach yourself how to code? Did you know there is something to code online, or how did that start?
Yeah, so it was a bit difficult because uh, there was a class that was taking computer science at my school, but I
Hmm.
wasn't in that class. So when
That
I wanted
was,
to go to
I'm
that
sorry, that
class,
was in grade, like in grade 11.
yeah, in grade 11, yeah.
Yes.
So when I wanted to move to that class, the administration couldn't allow me. I don't know why. So the only option that I had was to teach myself because even the people around me were not really interested in computers, and I knew
Wow.
nothing about computers by then. So I just went online, started searching for things like how to make a website, languages used to make computer programs, and all that. So I found a few articles, I think, on WikiHow, like how to
Mhm.
make this, how to do that, how to do that. So I started from there. Then I moved to YouTube, which has a lot of resources for programming, and
Yes.
I think YouTube is my go-to place when it comes to coding related stuff.
Wow. One thing I see among most engineers is that they have this drive that is just unbelievable. And that's why we need to, if my, to share with my viewers that, to be an engineer, you have to be really self-driven. You have to be looking, when you're curious, you have to start looking for these things. I always give an example of the blue rope. where is the blue rope? You're asking around. So I see that in you, especially that there were no people around you who were doing computers, right? And then you started trying to find out how what are computers, what do they do, things like that. So what were your challenges during that time when you were pursuing, when you have that drive of trying to find out what computers are, what is this?
Yeah. Still back in high school, in my class, I was taking food and nutrition. That was like an optional subject, or it
Yes.
wasn't really optional, but if you're in that class, you had to take it. So I was taking food and nutrition, and I don't know if you know this, but it is viewed as a girls' subject, especially back home in Zambia. It is viewed as a subject for girls. And so whenever I try to approach people like to help me with the coding stuff, they'll tell me, "Oh, you're taking food and nutrition. So how is that related to computer science?" So there are those negative things. And also, I didn't have a laptop back then. So mostly I was just using my phone to learn.
Wow.
And yeah, I was using my phone to learn. And then when I came here to Morocco for my university, amongst my friends, like the ones I came with, I was the only one who was interested in software engineering or coding. The other ones were interested in hardware and everything like that. So there was like no one to talk to, no one to help me. It was just like me on my own. So yeah.
Wow, wow. And yeah, that's, your story is interesting. And there's a question. Can you see the question, Robson?
Hi, I'd like to ask
A
is a
piece
piece
of
of
advice on how
advice
to
on how
make
to
your,
make.
especially that you are in software. So there's a student in UK. This is a student in UK. She's asking, how do you make the your resume stand out as a software engineer? Because I think she could be in software engineering as well.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot I can say about that, but if we can just be general and brief from the advice that I've gotten from people who are ahead of me in software engineering and people who like hire others. They talk about having like quantifiable results on your resume. So if when you're talking about your experience, you don't just talk about the what's this, the job description or the roles that you had at your
Yes.
company, at that company. You have to talk about the accomplishments, the impact that you brought to the team at that company. So if you maybe, for example, increased sales by 70% that year while you are there, I don't know, or you made an application that made the team more productive. So you didn't say something like, I was tasked to do this and that, but that's just a role that anyone can do. But you need to quantify the results, show the impact that you brought. And yeah, there's a lot that I can say about that. I don't know maybe how I can talk to the same person about that, but if I had to go on and on, it would take a lot of time.
Yes, I think we'll just have a session next time for encouraging these students, you guys, or the scientists, engineers, to just, give them some Duracell, how they can, make their resume stand out. I think it's a very good idea. So let's go back to your story. So then after that, you went to Morocco and you became an engineer. So my question is, on this platform, we're encouraging girls to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and men are part of us. I was mentored by men, professors. They really put in a lot, guiding me, showing me, and that's why men are still part of this platform. And most people, they ask me, Kirsten, I'm a man, why are you asking me about girls for STEM? I said, we still can't do this by ourselves. So that's why, men are still part of this. They have to be part of this platform. So what would you say to a girl growing up or a boy growing up out there that aspiring to become scientists or engineers. And looking at, most people think we don't have resources around us. And of course, I'm mindful of where I am. I always say this: I am so privileged to be in the United States, where there are so many resources, and other countries, of course, like Zambia, Morocco, they could not be so much as compared with the United States. So what would you say to a girl or boy growing up there? How would they pursue STEM?
Okay. Firstly, I think you like you mentioned, you need the drive. If
Mm-hmm.
you are going to enter these fields, you need the drive to move, because you might come across a number of challenges, might be discouragements from friends, family, or even strangers, or it might be a lack of resources, like you put it.
Yes.
But I think, for especially for the girls, they, like back home in Zambia,
Mm-hmm.
they see this STEM thing as something for boys and not guys, so they'll go into other sectors like education and everything. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I compare the number of girls that go into STEM here in Morocco and back home, there's like a huge gap. Here
Yes.
in my class, I remember, I think the ratio of boys to girls is like 1 to 1, which is not something
Wow.
you'd find in like a computer engineering class back home. So I don't know why it's like that, but I think it's also about the mentality, like how we are
Wow,
brought
I
up.
think they are doing good, because even in United States we are struggling with that. It's not
Yeah.
easy to have. Yeah, for example, in my class throughout my career, we used to be less than 5 out of 30. You can imagine, and there are so many challenges. Trust me, that we can discuss. It's just, a lot. So kudos to Morocco if they're doing that.
Yeah.
That's really, really great.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think,
Mhm.
yeah, you have to, if you can't find a community, like friends to surround yourself with, who can help you build that
Yes.
interest, it can be a little bit difficult to continue, because it's more like you're on your own. But
Hmm.
for long as you have that curiosity, that drive to continue, I think you should move ahead, even
Yes.
though some I think the major issue or challenge that might come is where, if your parents don't want you to do that, especially if you're a girl child, they might say,
Yes.
no, want you to do this and want you to do that. But if you're really convinced that that's what you want to do,
Hmm.
uh, I guess you just have to move forward with it. Because even just globally, I was reading the Stack Overflow survey.
Hmm.
Stack Overflow is a platform, Stack Overflow survey, where they surveyed software engineers in 2019, 2021, sorry,
Hmm.
2021, and the percentage of female software engineers that they surveyed across the world is less than 3%, if I'm not wrong. So you
Yes.
see, for the boys, maybe they might not have that much of a challenge, but for the girls, for the girl child,
Hmm.
it's I think they need more encouragement.
Yeah.
They need their minds to be opened, to be able to
Yes.
see that, okay, these are the possibilities of what you can do with STEM. And your channel is helping the girls to see through STEM, so that's a great thing.
Wow. And you just nailed it. One of my passions, I believe mothers, guardians have a greater impact in encouraging girls to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This platform is for parents, it's for engineers, it's for students, and it's for girls to watch that we are rallying for you. We are here. You can pursue this career, and that this career, it's a very lucrative career. Once you have this career, your family around you, the community changes, a lot of things changes, and there is nothing that you cannot do. You girls, no, thank you so much, Rabson Piri. Hope to see you soon again. This was Rabson Piri from Morocco, you guys, software engineer. And thank you so much, Rabson. I really appreciate. So my
Yeah,
next
thanks.
my next viewer, my next guest is Milan Harapetian. Hi, Milan. How are you? Nice to
Hi,
see you. You
it's
look
good to
great,
see
by
you.
the way, as an engineer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for having you. I really appreciate. I know you have so much, things that you do, busy, but for coming here, I'm just so privileged. So let's dive into it. So I'd like you to introduce yourself to my viewers.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you. My name is Milan Harapetian. You can just call me Mel. I am Armenian American, so I live in the United States, but I am Armenian. I graduated from UCLA with a degree in environmental science and a minor in geography. I've worked with businesses to help them become more environmentally sustainable. I've worked with school systems to evaluate their environmental programs to see if kids are excited about going into environmental science. And I am entering education myself. So I'm working towards being an environmental science or biology teacher in high schools. So this is something that I am very passionate about. So I'm so happy that this platform exists. I'll be here anytime.
Oh, great. Yes. We would love to have you 24/7. Trust me. We need to hear how this, how kids are navigating, how much impact is going on, especially, what you're driving right now. So thank you so much. So Melanie, how did your passion for science and technology start when you were young? Let's start from there. The reason why I always ask about this to most engineers, because we would like to show mothers, guardians out there, how it begins, So
Right.
can you share with my viewers? Yes.
Absolutely. My parents were a huge part of the reason that I loved science. They themselves, my parents are both computer engineers. So I was very, very lucky and blessed to have parents that already gave me a science education when I was little. So I knew all about, my mom has this story she loves, that I was tiny and I could barely talk, but they had taught me how gravity works. So
Yes.
I would go to people that were way bigger than me and I would say to them, "Do you know how gravity works?" And they would say, "Well, I think so." And then I'd tell them, "Well, this is how it works." So being a parent and showing your kids, children are naturally curious. They want to know
Yes.
how things work. All
Yes.
children will ask you, why is the sky blue? Why does this happen? Why
Exactly.
is water like this? So there is a natural desire in students and in children to figure out science, to figure out
Yes.
things like that. And really, your job is just to encourage them, get excited with them, be like, "I don't know, but we can go figure it out." Right? So I went to my parents, their favorite kind of vacation was to go on national parks. So
Yes.
I was always running around. I have pictures of like me having a baby deer drink water out of my hands.
And
So
Melon, not to cut you short, sorry guys, I
go
really
ahead.
need to fuse in this part. She has just mentioned, before I forget it, she
Yes.
mentioned how the parents used to go in the, to view environmental stuff, right? So
Yes.
one of my videos, I talk about how parents can share STEM to their kids outside the house. For example, if they go hiking, if they go outside the buildings, you watch that video. That's what she's just talking about. Here she is. She's an engineer. After it sparkled, after it sparked when she was young. So continue. Sorry, I just wanted
Yes.
to make sure I can
No,
look at it.
absolutely. Absolutely. You should go watch it. Her videos are all excellent.
Yes.
Very much. Yes, the desire to be a scientist and engineer for me has to come from a place of just childlike wonder,
Yes.
being just interested in the things around you, right? Why do things work the way they do?
Yes.
Everybody has a little bit of that. And as a parent, the best thing you can do, because I work with kids and I see their parents all the time, the
Yes.
best thing to do is just don't stop your child, right? If you don't stop your child, they will go and be interested in these kinds of things. PBS, the public, in the United States, we have things like PBS, which is the public broadcasting, just public TV. All of the
Right.
kids shows, there's so many science ones. You can look at them on YouTube. There's things like Wild Kratts. Zoom, like all of these shows that are geared towards children getting into
Mhm.
science. So just let them explore. You do stuff like that, and they take off on their own.
Wow, that's interesting. So then after that, was it discussed on the table or you just grew an interest after that?
It's funny because environmental science specifically is a science that scares a lot of people because
Yes.
it's not a solid science in the sense that you don't have a clear job when you get out of environmental science. You kind of have to find your own way, especially given the amount of funding, right? People may not know this, but science is 100% dependent on funding. You don't think about that when you're kind of outside, but how much money someone's willing to give your science is how much of a job you have, right? Because somebody has to pay for you. So environmental science is a little shaky. People don't always want to pay for it. So it was a little bit of a difficult thing because parents, right? I get a lot of parents that want to push their children in a certain direction or want to have their children do a certain thing. I always
Yes.
tell the kids, your parents want you to be safe. Your parents want you to be okay, right? The reason they tell you to go into a certain thing is not because they don't like you. It's because that's what they know. They know that that is safe, so they tell you to go be that. But if you have a certain drive and you think, I really care about this, I want to go do this, you can make it work, and then your parents will support you because they see you can make it work. That's kind of, in my experience, the order of things. It's like your parents are a little bit worried. I don't know, is there money in this? Will you be able to live on this? And then you find your way, and then they're like, oh, good, yes, okay, this was good because my kid is
Yes.
okay. So yeah, it's
Wow. So, what are some of your challenges that you faced whilst you were pursuing STEM up to now?
we shared one of our challenges.
Yes.
We
Mind you, guys, I was with Melanie at college, so we were in the same class. So, yeah, go ahead.
the challenges for me were really just the classes that were the most difficult. Math, multivariable calculus being the class that we met in is probably the hardest class I've ever taken in my life.
Yes.
It's difficult because, see, there's certain majors where they filter you out while you're in the program, and then once you get
Mm-hmm.
out, it's easy. And then other ones where being in the program is easier, but then when you get out, then it's harder for you to find something to do, right? A
Yes.
lot of the humanities are like that, where it's a challenging major, but not as challenging, like they don't make your life as hard as they usually do with STEM, because you get filtered out in that process. So
Yeah.
if you can make it kind of like through the classes and you
Yes.
push through, then when you get out, you have a degree that no one can take away from you. And you
Yes.
can then go find. So the hardest thing for me was really the college classes and how much they overload you with really difficult work to do. But it's a challenge that if you can take it on and you can do it, then you can really do anything. You'll be just fine.
Wow. Yes, that's very true. And the other thing is to just hang in there and stay in there. You will actually succeed. It looks like it's difficult, but it's doable. And
Yes.
we stuck in there, and yeah, it made sense afterwards.
Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. So, Melanie, one other question I want to ask. Me and you were very privileged to be in the United
Mm,
States, and
yes.
most countries out there they don't have, and there are women, girls out there trying to pursue this career. What would you say to a girl growing up in a country in United States? Also, there are places where they don't have so much resources as here, maybe in California, me and you. So, what would you say to a girl or boy growing out there?
I don't have, so I was born and raised in the United States. I recognize that that is a huge privilege. I do not know a lot of the difficulties that other
Yes.
people experience. But I would say that humans are the same. Humanity is the
Mhm.
same wherever. So I would say find people that share your interests. Find
Yes.
someone the easiest thing to do is to look around you wherever you are and find somebody you want to be like when you grow up, right? Find someone where they are doing what you want to do. Now, they can be someone around you, or they can be someone famous, right? Whatever, it's anyone.
Yeah.
Let's say you love a very famous scientist, right? We see Anthony
Like
Fauci
a role
every day on the
model.
TV.
Like a role model.
Yes, find somebody who is doing what you want to be doing and see what they did, right? How did they achieve their goals? And let's say you don't know where to start. Well, you can always look, you can go to the library, you can go somewhere, check out some books about people that you admire and see where they came from, what they did, and find adults around you that want to help. There's always adults around you who want to help. There's adults that love you, they want you to succeed, and they want to see you do great things. And if you tell them, this is what I want to do, then they will support you. My grandmother was the biggest supporter I have ever had in my life. Anything I did was perfect. Like, I would go to school, she would sit down when we had family, she'd be like, my granddaughter is gonna go become a great engineer, right? So she didn't know anything about what I was studying, but she believed in me and it made me feel great. Even when I was struggling in class, I was like, my grandma believes in me. So find the people around you that want you to succeed. Go find role models that did what you want to do and kind of see what they did, and you can do it.
Wow. Yes, I see the same mentality most engineers are doing, and those that have succeeded, they're doing the same, just what Milan has said. And please, guys, yes, we need that drive. That's the only thing you need to hold on. That's the only touch, the light for you, regardless where you are. And that will take you very, very far. So you just have to stick it in there and look for the blue rope. I always call it a blue rope. Ask, did you see the blue rope? Have you seen the blue rope? Because that's the one that's going to help you climb to the next level. No, thank you so much, Milan. I really do appreciate. And please, we would like to have you to see how it's going so you can give us more advice. You seem to be in it actually right now,
Yes.
So we'd love to have you again. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So my next guest is going to be Angela. Angela, let's see if Angela, she's there. Angela Tawa, are you there? Let's see if she can come in. Hi, Angela. Hey, Angela Tawa. She's pouncing from Cameroon, guys. So I hope she can come in. Let's wait for a minute. Yes. So we are here, guys, to encourage girls pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and to hear from other people who have navigated this science and technology. It's very inspiring. So Angela is maybe, she could be coming up. Hi, Angela. Yeah, so we call in different types of engineers, scientists, so they can share how they navigated STEM. And this will give a very good perspective to our viewers, especially girls, mothers out there, so they can, even when they're encouraging their girls, they can, encourage them in a good way, or they know how to research certain topics for them to, to encourage them. So what I'm going to do is I'll wait for Angela. Let's see. I'll see her if she comes in. So I'm going to bring in Angela Jao. Hi, Angela. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. I really do appreciate. So you guys, I work with Angela on Girls for STEM. She also encourages girls pursue STEM. So she will tell us what she does. And Angela will be coming quite often on this show. She has a lot of things for us. So she's going to share with us. But first, Angela, I would like you to introduce yourself and to tell us what you do.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela. I am a high school student in San Jose, California. I'm studying STEM, and in the future, I would like to enter the medical field. So a little bit about my project that I'm working on. I'm calling it Science in a Bag. It's to inspire other young students like me to get into the STEM field. So what we do is we construct science kits made from household items. So that could be like pencils, cups, coffee filters. We package them into little bags, and we deliver them to certain partner organizations, and then we can meet with the kids over Zoom or in person and just explain how these science experiments go.
Wow, that's interesting. So, guys, we're going to be working with Angela in so many projects. We've got so many projects we're going to be working on. So, we will share with you guys. But so, Angela, I just want to ask a question. So, what grade are you doing right now?
Right now, I am a senior in high school.
Okay. So, how did the engineering or part of thinking about STEM start? Did your mom, dad talk about it over the table? How did you start pursuing engineering or pursuing STEM?
So I think it really started from just when I was really little. It was that natural curiosity. So when I
Yes.
went to like toy stores with my parents, for example, I was always attracted to the fun science kits with like the crystal growing and all that. So it was just something I was naturally drawn to, and I'm really thankful to my parents who like supported me through that.
Yes.
They encouraged me. They kept buying me those science kits. They pointed out opportunities to me. So when I got into middle school, I
Mhm.
joined something called Science Olympiad. So
Yes.
here I got to meet a bunch of other people like me who are also interested in science. And I got to work with partners and study specific topics. So that was like anatomy and physiology, fossils. These were like pretty specific niche topics, but they were really interesting to me. And over the years, I just kept doing them. Stayed in this community, and I really got to learn a lot and stay interested. And I think that's really brought me to where I am now.
Wow, that's interesting. So I still see the drive, the passion to pursue science, technology, engineering, mathematics. That's very interesting. So the other part I want to ask is, so what's the intentions of creating these science bags to encourage kids to pursue STEM? So if you can just share with our viewers, guys, it will be very interesting. So she'll be coming on the show next time. So if she can just give us a hint, and so we'll be waiting for it.
Yeah, so my mission is kind of to just show everyone that science can be very accessible. You don't need like fancy technology, like super good computers and all that cool stuff. Sometimes you just need to look around you. You take some household items, you take some water in a cup and a pencil, and you put the pencil in the cup, and then you see what happens to it. And that's a lot of like you can notice like science everywhere. I just kind of want to
Yes.
show that it's really not that hard to get into. It's not that scary. If you're interested, if you want to look, then you can find it.
Wow. And I always say this when I encourage girls, and also maybe talking to parents, I always say that science is all around us. If you just look, everyone, you guys, my viewers, everyone, where you are seated, you look on the right, there's an engineer or science going on. You look on the left, you check just around you, you go outside, you see skyscrapers. When you are conscious of it, you will see that science is all over around us, and it's happening. Even right now as we speak, we are using internet. How did this internet happen? It's engineers working on it. We are gathered here from different countries. This is because of science and technology. So science is all over around us, and you can participate in any type of science, whichever excites you. And that's what one good thing about STEM. You can go in any career that really excites you. So Angela, the other thing is, what challenges have you faced from where you are right now in STEM? Maybe if you can share that with our viewers.
Personally, for me, it's been more of finding a community of girls to fit into, because a lot of girls, my friends, aren't really interested in the same things that I am. So, for example, when I went into Science Olympiad in sixth grade, the team was just a bunch of boys. Even the tryout room was a bunch of boys. My own friends just weren't, they just didn't want to do it. So I kind of felt like I didn't really fit in at first. But that's something that I've worked through. I've become friends with these boys. I've really gone into this field. And now I want to encourage more girls to get in, to make this community really a more welcoming place.
Wow, that's so true. And I'll share with you like what happened. I know my friends, if they watch this, they're gonna kill me. So one day we went to Las Vegas with my friends. So we planned, oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Things like that. So I said, I want to go to Hoover Dam. Okay. And only me, I said, I want to go to Hoover Dam. So no, what are we gonna do there? What are we going to see? I'm like, guys, it's interesting, and I'm so passionate. We're going to see the turbines, and then we'll see the water falling, and I'm so animated by it. No, we don't want to go there. But I finally managed to convince them, and we went there. But guess what? It was so steep. I don't know if you've been there, Angela, to Hoover Dam in Nevada. It's very steep, and it's like you have to climb a little bit. So we had to take off shoes. Oh my God, they were just cursing. You brought us here. Things like that. I'm like, please, let's just go. Some of them went back, but we managed to get down there. And I was so mesmerized to see this. It's a marvel. Actually, it's one of the best marvel in Las Vegas if you go there. It's actually right now I still want to go there. I'm planning to go there now to go see it after I've done my engineering. And so it's very difficult when you are wired differently and you're trying to convince your friends. So still the most important thing, I was so happy I managed to drag them there and I went through it. But some of them, they were kissing me, but these are my good friends. No, you brought us here, what is this? So I always laugh. So you just have to keep going. You're passionate about something. Sometimes the friends might not like, but it doesn't mean you should stop, where you want. You can't move on. So that's really interesting. So one more question that I always ask everybody. We are very privileged here in United States, me and you, and the world out there has also got its challenges. What would you say to a girl growing up in anywhere part of the world? How can they pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics?
I would say that the most important thing here really is just drive. If you're interested, you stick with it. You don't be afraid. There are always going to be people around you who have done what you want to do, who are interested in the same things you are. You just need to look for them. Also, the thing about just looking for science anywhere, it doesn't have to be in like those super complicated fancy tech or all that. Sometimes you don't have access to that. And sometimes you do have access to what I said about the cup, the pencil, the water. Like it's just small things like that. And you need to be confident in yourself. This is something that you want to pursue, even if no one else around you is pursuing that. You can find professionals. You can look for people. You have to know this is something you want to do and you need to pursue it. It's really just that drive. As long as you really, really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it.
Wow. No, thank you so much. We really do appreciate. Again, Angela, guys, will be back. She will have so many projects for our kids. Bring out your kids, your high school students, guys, bring them up. Tell your friends, your neighbors. She will be giving us very good projects on this show. And I think we will benefit a lot. And that will really encourage young kids. Also mothers, you can still do those projects maybe with your kids. So she'll be here starting definitely most like next week. So guys, please get ready. You come and enjoy. Thank you so much, Angela. We really do appreciate it. So our next viewer I'm going to bring is Joseph Omule. Whilst we are waiting for Angela. Hi, Joseph. How are you?
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Nice
Hi,
to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are
I
you?
really do appreciate. Fine. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming to our channel. And here is Joseph, very smart young engineer who has finished engineer at his early age, guys. So before I empty all my lungs, Joseph, please, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Joseph Omole. I grew up in Nigeria. I live in the United States now. I work as a process development engineer in a biopharmaceutical company in Thousand Oaks called Amgen. At the company, we develop testing methods for for manufacturing of drug products. So that's what I do right now.
Wow, that's interesting. Where to go, Joseph. So again, I would like to find out, Joseph. I know I've done a lot of work with you, and I've been in classes. You're doing your masters. I was, I was with you in most of the classes. We sat, to each other side by side, and we did so many projects together. I'd like to find out today. I've never asked you this though. So, how did this engineering career start in your life? If you can take me back when you were young, and I know I have an idea. You finished school very early. Please share with my
Yes.
viewers that and how you did that crazy thing.
Okay, so how I got into STEM, essentially my father is a medical doctor, and when we were growing up, my mother was an accountant, so they ran a business together in the medical field. Um, Growing up, I always thought I was going to become a doctor because of that. So going to secondary school, um, I I, I thought I was going to be a doctor, but then when I got to the third year, because we have a 6334 education system in my country, Nigeria. So when I was in my third year of junior secondary school, I decided, I was very inquisitive, and sometimes you watch cartoons and you be like, I want to be able, like Dexter's Lab, or I want to be able to build something like that.
Yes.
So I thought, I think I'll be an engineer. So I decided to go into engineering. And in secondary school in Nigeria, they kind of like set you up. You pretty much have to decide early what you want to become, because when you get to high school, to the equivalent of what is high school in the United States, you essentially have to decide whether you're going to be a STEM major, an arts major, or a business major. So for me, it was pretty early. I think I was about 13 years old at the time when I went
Wow.
to high school. Yeah.
Wow. And did your parents talk about science or engineering during when you were young?
Um.
Or
So
is
it
it
wasn't.
something that it's a must? You have to
So
be an engineer or
so
something.
two things, right? It was a must, but it wasn't expressed. It wasn't expressed. It was
Nigerian
implied.
thing or what?
So it was a must. It wasn't, but
Yes,
it wasn't expressed. It was implied. In other words,
yes,
you, you must either become a doctor or an engineer, but nobody's going to tell you that this is what you
yes.
must become.
It's implied.
But
You just know
but
that.
you know how African parents give you that corner eye. They're like, and so
Yes,
yeah. So for me it was, and of course, it kind of like appealed to my inquisitive nature. I have very many diverse interests as a
yes,
person. So for me it was kind of like a no-brainer.
yes. Wow, wow. That's interesting. So now, at how old did you finish your high school? You said you were 13.
When I finished high school, I was almost 16. There was some kind of background. I had to wait at home for one full year before starting my bachelor's, because the federal government in Nigeria had a regulation that you couldn't start college unless
Mm-hmm.
you were 16 years old.
Wow.
So I was 15 years, and I had like a couple of days before turning 16. So still I was underage, so I had to wait at home for one year. But I was about 15 when I finished secondary school, and I was of course median age because I had lots of classmates that were younger than I was, and of course
Yes.
lots of classmates that were older than I was.
Wow. Okay. And then, so could you please share some of the challenges that you had pursuing STEM at ever point, that you would want to share with our viewers?
Um, well, some of as a student, the challenges as a student, um in Africa, I don't know, I can't speak for other African countries, but I can
Yeah.
talk about Nigeria. Um because of the economy and infrastructure, there isn't that much access, or there isn't that much interaction between academia and industry out there.
Yeah.
So of course it's developing. It's much better now than it was 5 years ago when I was a student, and of course much better then than 5 years before. So it's improving. Um
Yes.
uh so because of this gap, there isn't that much exposure of students to what is going on in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So graduating from school, I found that my academic prowess was kind of like, enhanced, but I had little to no industry experience.
Yes.
So, of course, over the years, I tried to bridge that gap. And other than that, and maybe cultural things, out there, the challenges to being a STEM student are generally universal everywhere you are.
Yes. Yes. So, that's really true. And, some people always say to be in engineering, you need, a lot of money. To be engineering, you need to have money to send your child to a STEM school. I defy that, you guys.
Yes,
I am not saying it's not okay, but I would like to say that is not the only way to pursue science,
yes,
technology, engineering,
yes.
and mathematics. And the
Yes,
reason why on this platform we are bringing different types of people to see the flavor of how they navigated STEM, and to show that you can't just refrain and say, oh, I don't have money to send my child to the STEM school.
yes,
I don't have money uh, to participate in this STEM. So you've seen how everybody has got a different type of growing up, but they still made it, and they
yes,
still
yes,
became engineers. And
yes,
as you hear from Joseph as well, and you could see also the drive from these different engineers. They also talk. They are speaking different languages about how they had to drive their interest in pursuing science, technology, engineering, and
yes,
mathematics. So, okay, Joseph, and the other thing I wanted to ask you, what would you say to first I'll ask you a challenging question.
yes.
How much have you supported women in STEM?
Ah! Okay. So this is kind of like a survivorship bias question, right? And the reason I
Yes.
call it that is because um the problem we have, or we have had up until recently, is that STEM has been viewed as an exclusively, or almost exclusively, male field.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, the fields in STEM where, they are female dominated, like in nursing, for example.
Yes.
But generally, by and large, people tend to see being an engineer as a man's career. So
Yeah.
unfortunately for someone like me who's, spent most of his academic and professional life in engineering, I remember
Mhm.
when we graduated from college in 2016, we were 90 in our class,
Yes.
90 students in our class, only 5 were girls. So
Wow.
so generally we haven't really crossed paths with um with a lot of women in our career. But
Yes.
one thing I would seek to express is that just that it's one of the many misconceptions that we have about STEM, about engineering. People
Mhm.
think you have to be very smart to be an engineer. I mean, I don't think I'm very smart, but I'm an engineer.
Excuse me, Joseph. I was with you in class, so don't lie.
What the fuck? So when I graduated from my bachelor's program, I was in the bottom half of my class. I was in the bottom
Yes.
half of my class. A lot of people think that to be a great engineer, you need to be very, very smart. And it's something
I
I run
know, and
into.
and that's why I always, not to cut you short, I always
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, I said, guys, we do math in
Yeah.
all these other careers. So when it comes to engineering, why are we so scared? It's the same math, you just notch it up. Because once you learn it, you notch it up, you keep going, it's very
Yes.
easy. So there is no difference. Continue, Joseph.
Yes. Yes. So another misconception is that and it's probably one that makes it seem like it's a men's profession, is that
Yes.
you need to have a lot of physical strength. Because I remember when I was going to college, I told one of my dad's coworkers that, oh, I'm studying engineering, and then I was really skinny, and he was like, ah, you that you're skinny like this, can you carry anything? you know
So you almost got discouraged.
Well, there was of
Never.
course there was no way, because my father would never agree with me saying I want to do something else.
Yes.
But but of course, there's that, and then there's the misconception that one needs to know a lot of math to be an engineer.
Yeah.
In
Tell them.
To be
Tell them.
honest,
Yeah.
in my daily practice, and I work in biotechnology right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like maybe seen as one of the high tech
Yes.
fields in engineering.
Yes.
I hardly use math. There, and
Mm-hmm.
if the math is complex, there are softwares and spreadsheets for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
so those are many misconceptions that I think that it makes me really happy to see people seeking to dispel notions like that. Of course, not it's not demographically, it's not just a problem with that there are fewer women in STEM, but
Yes.
in countries like the United States, there are actually fewer black people in
Mm-hmm.
STEM.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Yes.
when I was in CSUN doing my master's,
Mm-hmm.
in our class there was only about three guys that
Yeah.
were black that I know
Mm-hmm.
of, and
Yes.
that was, I think, me, Erwin, and Silas. I can't remember any other black guy that
Yes.
was there, and there were lots of students there. So
Mm-hmm.
I
And the
think
black
it's
women
really.
and the black women.
Oh, ah, that was only you. And Joshana, of
Yeah.
course. Only you
Yes.
and
Yes.
Joshana. So there weren't a lot of, you know, it's another cultural aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all of these things they are built on misconceptions that are largely not true. STEM engineering is some of the best engineers I've seen at the company I work, they're women. The best engineers I've seen, they're women. The company I work at right now, they're women.
The only thing we are crying out is give us an opportunity, give us a
Yes.
chance to shine, and we will shine. That's what we are just asking men. And of course, we cannot do this without men. We cannot do this alone. We're not saying we want to do it alone, but we just want to encourage more girls, to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, and then I asked Joseph again, I said, how much have you participated in supporting women in STEM? He did he went around it, and but let me tell you guys, I actually was with Joseph in the same team. Oh my God, very helpful. He will get out of his way if you have a question. He will really help you until you succeed. Either you get an A just like him, and I did. So when I say how much did you support women in STEM, he was very, very, very good, and he did. So
Thank
Joseph, I
you.
have
Thank you so
also
much.
one more question.
I tried to give a political answer, a politician's answer
I
to
know
wig
you like,
myself out,
instead of answering
but you
like this,
saved me.
you want you want to go around the question. So, Joseph, I want to ask you one more question. So, what are your challenges now that you are working, or now that you are already now in this profession? Are there any challenges that you can share with us, with my viewers?
Um, so I would say earlier in my career, um, the the predominant or the preeminent challenge I had was actually making that transition from being a student to working.
Yes.
Because I remember when I came to the US in 2017,
Mhm.
here you are with a boy with a degree, no experience. Finding
Yes.
a job, you know, could be hard.
Hmm.
And so that was a huge challenge there. Sometimes you send your resume out and you don't get responses, you know.
Yes.
And often it's even maybe you met someone and the person, oh, so you have an engineering degree? Send me your resume. Don't worry, we'll get you something. And you send the resume, and the person sees your resume, and they're like, they just ghost you, you know. So for me, what I did to solve that was, because experience was the problem. I tried to get experience at all costs, even if it meant I had to work for minimum wage, even if it meant, even at that point, even if I had to work for free, I would have done it, because that's the early stage of the career. You must be willing to get skill. Engineering, as with STEM generally, is a skill-based profession. If you know how to do something, you get hired to do that thing.
Yes.
So I just walked to a random company, asked them for an internship for a job, and I was lucky to get that. They offered me a really low pay, but I
Yeah.
took it anyways. You know, I worked there for almost a year. Then the next thing I knew I needed to do was to get like more education. So I worked there for about a year. And then I went back to school for
Yes.
for an advanced degree. So while I was in school, I worked throughout. I was in school throughout. So essentially, and I paid a lot of attention to
Mm.
industry also. Resume writing is one of the most underrated skills, and
Yes.
I really wish that schools, high schools or colleges would have an actual class where it's a course. If you don't get an A in that class, you don't graduate, just in resume writing, because um I think personally, my story of how I was able to land a job while I was a student,
Yes. Hmm.
and sometimes your problem is not that you don't have the experience. Sometimes it's just that your resume doesn't present you well.
Yes.
And so once I learned that skill and mastered that skill, I was able to start getting
Yeah. I think there's a.
right now my
Okay.
email inbox is full of of staffing agencies trying to get me to apply for jobs at their companies, just because of that skill of resume writing. So that is also something to pay attention to. The other thing I think is picking out a single field, or picking out a
Yes.
field. Often, because STEM is STEM is not difficult, but is diverse. It's very, very diverse. So
Yes.
even under a field as narrow as, say, mechanical engineering, there is heat transfer, there is power transfer, there are so many things just under a single field that a person could do. So picking a field it has presented itself, to be some kind of thing that even I at this stage can't say that I have settled down in a single field yet.
And it's that is a very good point you're trying to say. It's everyone, because after you finish your career, whatever profession you are, mechanical, I'm manufacturing
Hmm.
systems engineer. He's more to mechanical manufacturing. Still, when you go in there, guys, there's a lot to do. I
Yes,
don't know how I can say this, but
yes,
it's a marvel when you go inside there and then you
yes.
realize, oh my God,
Oh my
which one do I
goodness.
want to do? And then what can I add? Am I interested in this? And most companies, they'll let you, roam around and
Yeah.
find your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, continue, Joseph.
And of course, just as you said too, if you land at some companies, they let you move around. Some companies have these programs where they rotate people. A lot of companies, especially if they're smaller, they don't have that. But the beauty about working in a smaller company is that you get to do a lot of things. So you might be in one
Yes,
position, but you're actually gaining a lot of experience. I encourage entry level engineers to work at smaller companies, before working at bigger companies, because it will be much easier to find what you're comfortable doing, because the range of responsibilities is a lot. So it's very, very wonderful. It's very wonderful. Sometimes I look at, like, I see a new field in engineering, I'm like, so this one too is part of engineering. It's like
Yeah.
even at this point right now, sometimes, yesterday night I was taking a course in data analytics.
Yes.
I'm trying to expand my portfolio,
Of
you know,
course.
to gain some more competence in that
And
too.
next time, I think, Joseph, we will call some engineers to talk more about how they can keep adding their strength, their,
Mm,
getting certification, because you
yes,
just
yes,
don't go at a place and start working and you don't enhance yourself. I think that's
yes.
also another topic for another day. Yeah,
Yes,
continue.
yes, yes. This thing I just mentioned, I think I'll just probably save it for that time
The
so
next
that we
one, yes.
can elaborate
Oh
on
no,
it
we can
very well.
still
It's
hear it a
it's
little bit,
very
you know.
important, I think,
Yes,
that as an engineer, because engineering is based on technology. Technology is dynamic. It changes. It
mm,
changes from time to time. It changes. So you as an engineer need to be willing to, it's like what we call in manufacturing continuous improvement. It's
yes,
an iterative process. You
hmm,
need to be willing to keep learning, to keep
yes,
knowing new things, because the industry shifts. And if you don't shift with the industry, you could get left behind, or
yes.
you could miss out on some, even if you don't lose your
Opportunities.
job or something, you could
Hmm.
just miss out on some things that are just really, really beautiful and really, really interesting. So
Yes,
it's important from time to time. I have a goal to get one professional certificate a year. You know,
yes.
I have a goal to get one each year. So
Mm,
right now I have three now.
yes,
So by next year I would have another one, and just to learn something new. You don't have to work with it, doesn't have to be something that you work with,
yeah.
but it makes you better rounded and
It
you'll
makes
be
you better
amazed.
around. Yes, you're right. And I have three too. I missed this year. I should have added one more. So I'll be at it again. So that's another topic, guys. Those most engineers, we can talk about how to enhance ourselves. Technology is evolving tremendously every single day, guys. It's like so fast. So that's why these professional companies, they are online, especially when there was COVID, you can do them online. Some of them are a bit expensive, but worth it. Worth
Yes,
it. Once
yes,
you have it, it just gives you this perception, another perspective about certain things. And of course, your boss, the company will be glad that you did them. If the
yes,
company doesn't offer them where you work, that's another one. And the other ones, you can take them even before you start working, right, Joseph? There are some of those that you can start taking before you even,
oh, of course, of course.
yeah.
The field of of professional certificates is very, very diverse. There are some professional certificates that can enhance your pay by a little bit. There are some
Mm-hmm.
that could enhance your pay by a lot. There are some that are very expensive to get. There are some that are very, so it's not even a spectrum, it's more like an entire domain of characteristics of these professional certificates. There are some, like, and it depends on where you want to get more knowledge in. If you want to get more in quality, there's ASQ for that. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
get some more knowledge in, say, project management, there's the
Mm-hmm.
PMI for that. Or if you're in the tech industry,
Mm-hmm.
there's Agile, Scrum, things like that you can get
Mm-hmm.
some kind of knowledge in.
In calibration, there is
Oh
certificate
yes,
in there. In design, computer
yes,
aided design, there is
yes.
certifications in there. And remember, we wanted to take computer aided design certificate. I think it
Hmm.
should still be on my schedule. I still have to do that one. So there are a lot of certification that we can do. Wow, wow. That's you brought in another in wow, that's very interesting. Um, that is just so, amazing that we really need to know as engineers. So Joseph, I have another question. We
Of
have
course.
just so many things to talk about, you guys, a lot of things in engineering, encouraging girls. And I hope girls can be listening to these conversations. Boys out there, you can be listening to this conversation. These conversations are really, really good for parents. So you can know, oh, so this industry, it's like this. Even as you encourage your girls, your nieces, your boys, you are comfortable talking about it. And that's why this platform is here, so that we can discuss these things. This platform is anyone from the world. You guys, if you have any engineers that want to be part of this, let them know. We are here and we can, discuss this. So Joseph, I have another question for you. So
Mhm.
how were you, okay, let me put it this way. How would you encourage, another kid, either from Africa, you're here in the United States, or here, how would you encourage them to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, knowing, at the background, resources that are limited to some countries, and some countries have resources?
Okay. So, um, I come from a developing country.
Mhm.
Nigeria is a developing country with, less than adequate infrastructure to actually practice engineering. But I think no matter the country you're in, what holds true for pretty much anywhere you are
Mhm.
is that STEM as a field
Mhm.
offers the most opportunity. No matter if you can't find a job as an engineer in a country, you'll probably not be able to find a job studying banking.
Mhm.
You'll probably not be able to find a job studying insurance. So, as in terms of when you talk about it from an economic standpoint, it offers the best opportunities. If your aim, of course, is even to leave your country, the countries you could get settled down in um have kind of advanced countries make it facile for a person with a STEM degree to
Mhm.
migrate and settle down in their countries.
Yes.
So even if you are in a developing country, there is the case to be made. And
Mhm.
but of course, this case is for the parents, because
Mm.
a kid who is 13 years old, the economic prospects of a career doesn't mean much to him. As
Yes.
when I was 13, it didn't mean much to me. But I would say that because one thing I do run into, I haven't seen anybody of kids. I haven't met any kid who is at a stage where they need to pick a career who said that I don't want to be in STEM. I
Mm.
haven't met anyone. Often the reason what they say is I would like to be in STEM,
Mhm.
but I'm not good at math. I would like to
Mhm.
be in STEM, but there's always a but. It's never
Yes.
like, oh no, 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 I don't want to be in STEM. No, no, no. STEM, I don't like STEM. You know, for people like that, I think the best thing is to encourage them, to let them know. And just like we've done today,
Yes.
dispel a lot of those misconceptions
Mhm.
um, that you need to be good at math. If you need to
Mhm.
be good at math to study engineering, what are they teaching you in engineering school?
Mhm.
You know, that's why you go to school, because they teach you the math that you need to be an engineer out there. You
Yes.
know, if you need to be really, really smart. Like, you don't have to be really smart to be an engineer. The best engineers, and this the most important skill for any engineer. And a lot of people may think the jury is out on this, but it's not.
Yeah.
As a fact, the best skill for any engineer to have is the skill to be collaborative, the skill to be
Yes.
able to work with people,
To
the skill
share
to be able
knowledge.
to ask people for, for their knowledge, to be able to interact with people. That's the best skill any engineer can have. And that's not something that is limited to people generally in STEM, you know. So we need to, of course, help these kids out by dispelling a lot of notions. I have a kid in my church right now that I'm mentoring, you know.
Yes.
He didn't want to be an engineer before because he found he wasn't good at math. And so I took him to the library. I said, okay, let's bring your math books out and let's look at it, because he was failing at math.
Yes.
And when I went over it with him, I realized that this boy was not having an issue with his intellect. He was having an issue with the teachers, with the educational system. I think that whoever was the math teacher in his school hadn't been patient enough to guide them through. And so if your problem is math or science or something, don't write off STEM because you're not good at math. You know, the boy is right now he's actually in community college. He's going to be an engineer now. You
But
know.
And to my viewers, guys, Joseph tutored my son. My son is going to kill me when he hear this. He tutored my son. Yes, the only thing our kids need is to hear it, that you can do it. There is nothing too difficult about this subject. And once they hear it, that's all it matters. Especially, Joseph, when you say that math, it doesn't mean when you don't know math, that means you cannot.
Yes, it doesn't mean my little brother, he's going to kill me too for giving this example. But my little brother was, when he was in secondary school, he was asked to withdraw from the science class and go to either arts or commercial because they said he was bad at, I think, chemistry or something like that. He just started his PhD in chemistry at UC San Diego.
Oh my
God.
God.
You know, the fact that you're doing badly today at one program, and not just in any program, but you can extend this to any field in life. The fact that you're doing badly at anything today doesn't mean you can't do good at it tomorrow. Even if it's something as off topic as playing the piano. The fact that you can't play the piano. I learned how to ride the bicycle when I was 26. Like,
okay, that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing, but the fact that you can't do something today doesn't mean you can't do it tomorrow.
Even going in STEM can be at different places. I went in STEM, you know, Joseph, I was with you. Course. You guys are younger than me. But I went in STEM when I was really, really at my older age, guys. And I did it. So it was embarrassing, right? To some people, they were like, oh my God, you're starting engineering now? And then when are you going to work? I'm like, guys, it's life. It's either to
it's life. It's life, of course. It's life. It's life.
So also, you can enter engineering at different levels. You know, I have a friend of mine who switched. She's not here. Isabel. I think she's going to kill me. She switched from... I think psychology or something like that. Yeah, to electrical engineering. So you can imagine, you can imagine how you can enter STEM at different levels. So it's never too late. And the other point I also wanted to add is in engineering, there is so much work to be done, you guys. It's unbelievable. So when you tell me that you need to be so smart to be in engineering, that's not true, because engineering has got different levels. You're not going to be doing math all the time. I don't do math all the time. He doesn't do math all the time. We do something else. It just helps you to do analytics, to think. That's it. So it's not the thing that's going to drive your career. So just be above average. You are good to go. Most universities, they'll still take you. You know, if you talk about developing countries, the problem is universities, so many resources that makes them not take students when they are above, like they are getting 75 or 80% mathematics. They're like, oh, you can't go into engineering. That's not really fair. But this career, we have so many places where they can work different. So engineering career has realized that there's so much work to be done. that sometimes doesn't just relate to math, but it's in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why now, guys, just go for it. There are so many reasons I can give you why you should do this career. So many reasons. I keep saying them on my channel, on my YouTube. You guys go watch it. And, there are just so many reasons why you should pursue STEM. And I heard some of my viewers are saying my picture is not so good. I really don't know. My guess the picture is okay, but mine is not. I really don't understand this, but I will fix it. I think the next session next week, I'll really make sure I fix it. So I don't know if people in the studio can see the same or just my viewers. I really apologize. I don't know if it has picked up now. Hopefully it did. But yes, guys, I just want to say we've come to the end of the show. We can keep going on, just it's interesting to talk about this stuff. And Joseph, thank you so much for having you. I really, really do
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
of course. I will
And
introduce my little brother to you as well. Maybe he
please,
would
please,
have a lot
and
of.
we would like to hear these testimonies and
Oh
to
yes,
hear
yes.
how kids changed, especially those that said, okay, I'm going to do engineering, and finally you did it. Would like to hear those stories, you guys. Again, thank you so much, guys, for coming, and we'll come to the end of the show. See you next weekend. We have very exciting stuff for you guys. Again, ciao ciao, bye guys.